Okay, the exposition that I want to share with you this week is about needs and wants. We've talked about needs and wants a couple of times before, but I want to add a different wrinkle to it. So, just to kind of remind us where it is that we're going here, is that needs are um, needs and wants are often thought of as uh, synonyms. We use them to mean the same thing. We'll put them if we're trying to put words into the same sentence. Again, we're going to use the other one because we don't want to just be repeating the same word over and over again. So people talk about needs and wants as though they're the same thing. But for our purposes, we want to make a distinction between them. And the largest, kind of simplest way to see that is that when I want something, what I want is, in philosophical terms, a monad. It's a thing, it's an event, it's a circumstance. So I want a hug. Now, if I want a hug, I will know whether or not I got a hug. If I want an ice cream cone, I will know whether I've got an ice cream cone. So wants are semi-tangible things. They might be an experience. I got to take a ride in the car. I got what I wanted, or I didn't. Whereas needs are asymptotes, which is a mathematical term that talks about a limit that we can approach but never fully reach. So I want attention. I might, for a moment, get attention, but I want an attentive relationship. I want affection. I want satisfaction. I want glory. Right? These are things that I want to know that I have worth. These are things we can approach, but never fully grasp permanently. So for our purposes today, I want to distinguish these things based upon from a systems perspective, to suggest that wants have to do with an energetic exchange, whereas needs have to do with the transformation of, or a transformation for the purposes of the enhancement of the system. Okay, so in the world that we encounter, we're trying to make sense of it. We're trying to see the world in a way that is accurate. So we create cognitive maps that explain the world to us so that we can shape my choices, can move me towards what it is that I want or that I need. We want those maps to be as accurate as possible, but they also have to be simple enough that I can actually use them. And they have to be something that's going to give me a way of being that will actually move me towards whatever is my goal at the moment. Ideally, will move me towards what it is that I need. So the map that we make is a map of a system. So I may think of the relationship that I have with someone. I may think of a pond. I'm going to study what's going on in a pond. So I'm going to define my system as this pond. But the pond exists on a farm, and there's farm runoff, and there's rain, and there's all this stuff. So any system, even the systems that I have with other people, they're not closed systems. Something can come from the outside that is going to impact them. And that's a part of the dynamic process of understanding what's going on with us. So it's important to remember that any system is something that we have made up for the purposes of understanding what it is that's going on with us. So I've made up this understanding of a system, and within this system, there are certain energetic exchanges that I would like to have. So I'm hungry, so I go to the hot dog vendor and I give him a couple of bucks and he gives me a hot dog, right? So there's an information exchange. Most of what we're doing most of the time has to do with some kind of energetic exchange. We're getting this and giving that for it. And for any system to be balanced, the energetic exchange has to be balanced, so that if the system is putting out more than it's getting, it will become depleted. If it's getting more than it's putting out, it will become bloated in some sense. So balancing the system becomes important. So, for example, in my relationship with my wife, one of the things that I'm looking for in that relationship is a sense that I matter, that I have worth. And one of the ways that I get that is by having affection. And she shows affection to me. And so I feel that affection because I say, honey, can I have a hug? And she gives me a hug and I give her a hug back. So there's this energetic exchange. What we want in that sense is a hug. But what we need, what the system needs largely, is affection. If I find her being reluctant to give me a hug, do I work harder to make her give me a hug, or do I figure out what's going on in this system that this is not naturally occurring as it used to be? So I want to look at the larger system. What's going on here? What's she upset about? It may have nothing to do with me. It may be that she's really angry with me because I still won't load the dishwasher right. Whatever. There's something in the system that we're going to try to address here. And so in order to construct the flow of energy within the system, so the system is working in some sense, there has to be a transformation of that system. So you may recall that, I remember this from junior high school, the joke, it was a question. Basically the question is, what is a word that ends in K and means intercourse? And the answer is talk. So it may be that in order to bring stability back to, or satisfaction, or whatever it is that this system needs, there has to be some engagement with the other for the purposes of transforming this system. And that's moving towards what we need. Why does this matter? Well, because we live in a world in which it's really easy to know what we want. If you don't know what you want, just turn on the TV and you'll have advertisers telling you what you want, when we're not actually creating what it is that we need. So the news yesterday, as it happens, was that the Supreme Court threw out the decision of the lower court, thus allowing the state of South Carolina to gerrymander its legislative districts. It turns out that gerrymandering is not illegal. It is only illegal if we can prove that it was done for racial purposes. And if people say, oh, this has nothing to do with race, this is just about party, it's actually legal to gerrymander if the only thing you're trying to do is to give your party more power. So what the party wants is power, but what does the system need? Do we actually want a democratic system in which everybody's vote is of roughly equal value? If that's the quality that we're looking to create in the system, then this way of defining the system, and in this sense, what we want here, or what the Supreme Court said it was okay for the South Carolina legislature to want, is actually the opposite of what the larger system needs. It works against the needs of the larger system. So this is why it's important for us to be able to understand this distinction between needs and wants. So I encourage all of us to be figuring out clearly what is it that we actually need, and not just settle for whatever it is that we want. Okay, thanks for watching.